And in the meditation, you said the will to stay still is not different from the power of presence. And that was very, kind of unlocked something, and also somehow created a question, a kind of a contradiction, because it feels like the will to stay still is something that's coming from the conscious mind. And presence doesn't, even if I'm conscious of it, it doesn't feel like it's coming from the conscious mind.
That's right. But remember, it's a bipolar unity. So although they seem opposites, they are two sides of one coin. They are not actually different, and you can't have one without the other. And that one is convertible into the other because poles are always shifting. And so they are actually the same, but they can only know what they are by being different from themselves.
Okay, yeah, when I was kind of trying to ponder the relationship, what came...
If there's no samsara, then you will never know nirvana. You only know nirvana when you're in samsara. When you're in ignorance, you know the knowledge. You can receive it. You can learn it. If you're not, then you remain in that state in which there is no subject and no object, right? So there is no expression of that infinite intelligence. And infinite intelligence likes to express itself. It's just... an uncontrollable creative urge to create worlds and then destroy them and create new ones. So we are simply part of that, and we on our fractal level do that all the time in our own lives, right? So we are the same, even though we think we're different.
Thank you. When I was thinking about this will to stay still, I kind of discovered in that, thinking about what part of the mind was enacting that or feeling that, and actually it felt like love.
The will to be still,
yeah.
Yes.
And so
but say more about what you mean by that.
Well, just in the sense of, it didn't feel like it was coming from the superego. It did feel like
right.
That will, and last night you said it's the will to love, right? Or will is love. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it kind of, to me, said that that's the link. It's the love of the self, and I kind of didn't interpret being still as the love of the self. I mean, obviously it is, but...
Yes, it is the love of the self, and it is the self as love, which gives the grace to the ego to be still. And that's why your will to be still has come to you through the grace of the one who wants you to realize you are loved and that you are love.
Okay, thank you. So now I have a question.
Okay.
If that's okay. Actually, it's very interesting, this question, because it wasn't my question. It was a question that came up in the encounter group today, and I didn't see it, and so we didn't talk about it in the encounter group. But it's interesting karmically because. And you'll see why, I think, in a moment, because after the encounter group, and this happens a lot, that if I'm not doubting myself in the moment, usually afterwards I'm having a superego attack, like, oh, you said stupid things, and who are you to say this, and just stay quiet, and all these, attacks.
You have a very nice superego.
I know. But the question that came, which I think is pertinent to this, inner argument, is how does one discern whether one's actions are guided by the self or by a subtle form of ego disguised as wisdom?
Well, if you are still in your ego, it will be the ego's imagination of what that is. But it will probably contain at least grains of that truth. And if it is aimed at the realization of pure presence, then you know that it is true, because the state of stillness has no intentionality whatsoever. Its wisdom is its stillness, its acceptance, its love, its joy, its freedom from any desire or demand on the other. So if your wisdom contains any of those markers of egocentricity, then it doesn't have much of the real wisdom, right? It still might have a grain or two, but mixed with its appropriation by the ego. So you have to expect in the beginning that it's going to be contaminated but more and more you'll be able to critique it and see it, and you'll be horrified by it, and then you'll decide to purify it and really attain the wisdom that you have no doubt about its authenticity, because for your own sake, because you realize that this is keeping you captured by a lower level of your consciousness, and you want to be able to live in much more harmony and much more joy than you're able to have, as long as you have a superego like yours attacking you for every performance, right? And creating the anxiety and even the fear of growing and expressing these higher truths. So once you recognize that these are tricks and traps of the ego, you won't fall into them anymore. And very humbly, but very compassionately and dispassionately, you'll be able to begin to channel a state that is much more free of any intention of your own, but simply serving the needs of the other to receive a kind of information that will strengthen the other and not make it dependent on you or on others, right? So it is the gift of recognizing the inherent sovereignty of the other as well as your own that is the perhaps ultimate gift of that wisdom.
That's beautiful and very helpful. Thank you. I think there's something like qualitatively different than this feeling of being horrified versus the paranoia or superego attack. I think it's that
totally
they can be
different.
mixed up, but there is a qualitative difference.
Oh yes. Even the superego attack will be horrifying, right? Because you will accept that whatever you said, it was the fundamental mind moving you. The will of God ultimately does everything, including creating the ego, sustaining it, and it will destroy the ego when it is ready to unconceal itself, right? So it will be a very different kind of recognition of the ego for what it is, but not horrified by the ego itself, but by your capture in it and by it. Okay. All right?
Yeah.
Because it means you have lost your freedom and your ability to see the real as it really is.
Okay, maybe fine. Thank you so much. Maybe final question related to that. What just came up was realizing that in that moment of being horrified, there is a feeling of being humble that comes, potentially that comes with that. But in paranoia, I don't feel like I can even feel any humility. Like as if humility would be an anecdote to somehow to paranoia.
Yes, I do. I think that's true. And that will bring love also, because it will bring acceptance of the other and of yourself, right? And recognition of the need to grow from that imperfection, but to recognize that even your ability to see this is a sign of your maturation. And your ability then to transcend what had been, let's say, the baseline of consciousness, and bring yourself to a new assemblage point in which that no longer will disturb you.
Thank you, and thank you so much for the, for the beautiful reading.
Thank you so much for your questions. They were very relevant.
We have a question from Marnie, who asks if the recent rapture frenzy is fueled by the lower death drive, because she shares that someone close to her got caught up in it, and it was all she could talk about, and made all kinds of final preparations.
Yeah, I only heard about it, I think, through a few people who asked me about it, because I hadn't, been aware of this, but then apparently it was something that went viral. I think it might even be, created by bots or by the deep state to, divert people. But the ego's imaginary wants to have a kind of rapture that is external and that is for the ego, not the rapture that is the transcendence of the ego, which is a very different understanding of what rapture is. So those who fell for that didn't understand what rapture actually can mean and does mean in the real truth of being. So I don't know that it's necessarily the lower death drive, but I think it's the imaginary desire to transcend without doing the inner work that this book is showing us we have to do of purification, because only the rapture can only come as a result of the burning of all the sanskaras. The grace isn't given until you have earned it, and you can only earn it through your transcendence of the ego, and then the rapture becomes simply our original and eternal state of presence. It's not some mystical exit from the phenomenal plane, because the one who gets raptured is not the body and is not the character, but the soul that becomes completely reunited with the infinite intelligence. But if the soul isn't awakened first and have that resonance, then that will not it will not create such a magnetic attraction to the fundamental mind that the soul will be able to ascend. If there is still any anchoring in the body identity, that's what prevents the rapture. So you can't be confused and believe that the rapture is about the body. No, it has nothing to do with that level of reality. So I hope that answers your question. But no doubt there will be more of these, because I think it's a game that a lot of people like to play. So I never make any prophecies as to dates or times, just that this will come when that supreme intelligence ordains it. But we have to be ready, because it could be at any moment. But it's not the rapture that would be at any moment. It's the realization that will come to all that all of this is only God and never was anything other than that. And that will be the final rapture for everyone, but that moment is referred to as the eschaton, when the world dissolves in light, and that's all that ever was, but it will return to that and the light to the source. So it is a process that must be surrendered to by the character in the matrix. It won't be given to that character, but one's consciousness will be extracted from identification with it, and that will be the rapture that one will receive or can receive and achieve while the matrix is still playing. Okay? So see if the mind will stay in the stillness of the heart, in total presence, and notice what resistance comes up, if it does, that disturbs that stillness and creates some kind of vibratory agitation or anxiety. And then simply, if there is any, simply witness it and bring peace and acceptance to that state. And feel what it's like when your heart is at peace.
I started reading the Bhagavad Gita when I was 19 years old. And I was just, as you were teaching us to get back into the stillness, I was kind of immature, but I did have some of that stillness when I was 19. I used to fantasize about being one with Shiva, God, and knowing what to do and say at every situation in life, and always having an open heart and having compassion for everyone. But when I didn't really live that as much, I started to feel a agitation, a disappointment. Obviously my superego was attacking me. And that used to make me very agitated and disappointed in myself. Is it going to take that much? I mean, you've given me, the last Sunday you gave me great advice. Is it going to take that much more patience to get to a point where you feel that somewhat of a peace inside yourself?
No, it will require you to realize it's hopeless.
Absolutely hopeless?
Absolutely hopeless.
Okay.
What are you going to do about that?
Stay true to the word.
Hmm?
Stay true to the word, to the teachings.
Can you?
Yeah, I think so.
I think all you can really do is witness the ego. You can't change it. But you can witness it without identifying with it. And if you witness it, then the superego will no longer be attacking you. It will be attacking perhaps that 19-year-old or even a 5-year-old or less, but it won't be attacking you when you are witnessing the ego. And you will see that it too is this bipolarity that caused you to lose your ideal that the Gita gave you and fall into the superego's negative ideal, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right? So those bipolarities are still present, but you can witness it and realize it's not you, it's just an acquired habitual way of thinking and of structuring your consciousness as a self-attacking and self-sabotaging program. You can see that, and by witnessing it, you will gather the ability to decide to delete the whole program, the entire program. And you will delete the hopelessness when you do that. But you can only do that from the state of the pure, total witness that knows you are not that program with that logic, that structure, that internal split, and that inability to stabilize. Only the witnessing of it will enable you to transcend it and then eliminate it.
Thank you. You've been telling me all along to avoid that character and not listen to it. You asked me if I can do it, I'll say yes. Thank you, Shunya.
Blessings.
Very much blessings to you.
I very much resonated tonight with, I believe I am the ego, but I also believe I am more than that.
Mm-hmm.
However, like I truly feel that. However, it feels like a curse almost. I mean, the idea of ignorance is bliss has been coming up this week. Like I wish I didn't think or know there was more. And it just feels like this endless pit of, I can't be in ignorance, but I don't know the bliss. And it just feels like a big gap in between. And that's how I feel right now. I feel very much, the pain of knowing there's more, truly believing that, but not feeling it in any way. So I don't know what my question is. Yeah, I feel the hopelessness of it.
Totally hopeless.
But what do you do with that hopelessness apart? How do you not fall apart? Or maybe you should.
No, but there has to be a giving up of your belief that this whole mental activity, this whole frame of reference that you're expressing is your own. It was acquired by being born in the particular family you were born into. You took in their way of thinking and being, their attitudes, depressions, fears, anxieties, etc., those all became knitted into your identity, but only in that program. When you know you are more and you accept that that program has those limitations, it did its job, it got you here, okay? You should have gratitude for the program. It wasn't so bad, it was relatively functional, you know? But now, realizing that you are more than that, you have the ability to redesign it. Like you change your clothes, you redesign how you look and how you wear your hair and other things. Why not redesign your ego to express your divine nature? And it'll be very joyous to do that. Oh, got you laughing anyway.
You make it sound so easy.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's easy and hopeless simultaneously. Just hold both levels of that paradox and laugh at it, and that laughter itself dissolves all of the ego's pseudo-seriousness. And then it's very easy to decide to live large, to be in your total creativity without inhibition, you know, but without immaturity either or trying to impress, but just out of the love of creativity, to begin to grow new ways of living in the world that bring greater joy, greater expansiveness, greater openness, greater wisdom, greater capacity to be able to understand others and help them to grow. All of that will bring you ever more joy. And so it will not only be easy, but it will be a wondrous and astonishing opportunity to realize your full potential and bring it into your life.
Haji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Last night around that time when we all laughed, you explained what was happening as magical realism, perhaps. And what did you mean by that? And it does feel in a certain sense magical. And is it the concealment, the revealing that's happening in it? There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the fact that both are in superposition. You are the self. And at some level, the self is laughing at the ego, and you can hear the laughter. And you know it's at you, you're the butt of the joke, but you're also the one who is creating the joke and enjoying the comedy, right? So again, it's not about lowering the resistance, it's about realizing it's not your resistance, right? The ego's resistance is not going to go away because it's programmed to resist. That's its job, okay? Let it do its job. You don't need to interfere with the ego. It's not relevant, the state of your ego. What's relevant is realizing you're not the ego. That's all that it takes. The ego is a program. It'll keep running, right? Because you aren't in the place yet where you could delete the program, but you can realize that it is a program. It's not your consciousness. And the more you extract yourself from its thoughts and realize, oh, they're not my thoughts. Look at these incoherent thoughts that are resistant and, right, going through all of those games. But you can understand it as a program that was installed through the dysfunctional family system you had to endure, and that now you can turn all of that into wisdom by realizing that the resistances you have is actually the key to understanding everyone's resistances, because it's universal. Your ego is really no different than anyone else's. I know you think it is. It's very special. It's worse than every other ego, but it's not, okay? But it is just a part of a universal kind of programming that is current in the end of Kali Yuga. And everyone has to go through separating from it if they want to individuate and discover who we really are. So it is, what's important is just simply disidentify from the narrative because who you really are, the self, has no narrative. That's why it's in stillness. It has nothing it needs, nothing it wants. It's perfect. It's contented. It's already completely realized. It's unconcealed. That's what you are. Okay? And that unconcealment is already present. The ego, it's concealed from the ego, yes, but it's not concealed from you. You can see it. You can see it in the world. You can see it in the one speaking to you. The only place you can't see it is in you. But you're the one who is actually projecting everything that you can't see in you. And everything that you think is outside of you is actually the richness, the wisdom, the bliss, and the love that you are. Om Tat Sat.
Haji, thank you very much.
Namaste. Okay, are these question and answer periods useful to people as well? I hope so, because I appreciate people's honesty and courage and real willingness and, to grow and to reach the stillness of the self. And the more that you simply accept the situation as it is without an emotional reaction to the difficulty of the journey, the more you will recognize that the difficulty belongs to only that fragment of your consciousness, not to your whole consciousness. And there will be ever more compassion and forgiveness for your ego and of your ego. And the more that the ego can feel okay about itself, the more the superego is depotentiated. And when the self-attacking voice is gone because there is an acceptance, then the voice of the fundamental mind will come with that love and forgiveness, and will produce gratitude and a connection with the fundamental mind that will very quickly become an indivisible realization that you are simply the expression of that. And miracles will then begin to flow without any intention of any separate individual being, but simply as that supreme will of the love that is the reason all of us have manifested. And that love now is blossoming into its fullness because it exists only within yourself. It is not to be found any longer out there. It is only to be found in the self. And then the self will be able to recreate a world in which love is omnipresent again. And this is our task, our privilege, our honor, and our final function as Sat Yogis. May we all complete our mission here and feel that fulfillment and empowerment while still alive in this last of the many bodies that you have believed you inhabited, while all along being only the one light of infinite love. Namaste.